Assalamu alaikum and good day everyone. I am your teacher Muhammad Ikram from Pakistan International School, Taif. I welcome you all in my today class. Today is our lecture number 13 in of unit work and energy. Today I will tell you about the form of energies. So let us start with our lecture in the name of Allah Almighty. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Form of energies. There are various form of energies. If you remember, on the very first day of the lecture of chapter number unit number 6, I told you that there are various form of energies, and I will explain all these form of energies later on. So today I'm going to explain these form of energies to you. So we have the mechanical energy, we have electrical energy, we have light energy, we have nuclear energy, we have chemical energy, we have sound energy, we have heat energy, wind energy, hydel energy. So I'll explain you all these one by one. First, we have the mechanical energy. And if you remember, mechanical energy, I explained the mechanical energy in great detail. And in that point, I told you that, in fact, mechanical energy is the sum of the kinetic energy and potential energy of the body. Mechanical energy is sufficient to describe all form of energies. Usually we have two kind of mechanical energies. We have kinetic energy and we have potential energy. And the kinetic energy, I devoted one lecture to it, and I explain in much greater detail about the kinetic energy. And if you remember, I told you that kinetic energy is the energy due to the object motion, and that kinetic energy is the natural or the intrinsic property of all the moving object. Whenever the object moves, then the object carry the kinetic energy. So it is the energy associated with the object by virtue of its motion. And if you remember, there was a mathematical relationship which I explained to you, that kinetic energy equals half mv square, where m is the mass of the body and v is the speed of the body. So if you see, look here, that in this video, you see there is a magnetic capsule. When that magnetic capsule moves, then there is a kinetic energy associated with it. The faster it moves, the greater will be the kinetic energy. Similarly, we have the potential energy, and that was our last lecture, the potential energy. And if you remember, I told you potential energy is, in fact, it is the energy associated with the body due to its position or configuration. And I told you that potential energy is, in fact, a kind of our energy bank where we store energy. All that is about the potential energy is that here we store energy. Now there are two kind of potential energies: the elastic potential energy, and if you remember, I told you elastic potential energy is, in fact, due to the compression or the stretching of an object. So that is usually the energy stored in object when we change its geometric structure. So that causes the elastic potential energy. For example, a stretched rubber band or a compressed spring, and I explain it to you experimentally also in the previous lecture. Then there was a gravitational potential energy, and if you remember, I told you that when you raise something against gravity, then the gravitational potential energy is stored in it. So the greater the height, and the greater will be the potential energy stored. The greater the mass, the greater will be the potential energy associated with the object. So I demonstrated this to you also, but let us just see this small video which I prepared for you. You see, look, as you see that magnetic capsule, when it falls, then you see that there is what? That there is the potential, that at the high top, there is a potential energy associated with it. But as it falls, it moves, its kinetic energy increases and potential energy decreases. And inshallah, I will explain this to you in the conversion of interconversion of energy. Let us move to the next slide. Here, I want to tell you about the electrical energy. Electrical energy is the energy associated with the moving charges. So when the charges move, they carry electrical energy, and electrical energy is the most wanted energy. Today, if a nation is in need of, that is much more electrical energy. And if you remember, I told you electrical energy is the kind of energy which manifests itself in many other forms. And I told you that electrical energy is, in fact, electrical energy produce six effects. I told you electrical energy produce light. Electrical, as you see in this animation, as the charges moves, then their kinetic energy is changed into light energy. And then you also see here the chemical energy of the cell. That is, when it is transferred to charge, the charges moves, they have kinetic energy. As it passes through the bulb, then the bulb light up. So that is how it produces the light energy. Similarly, it produces heat energy also. Electric iron is the best example. And it produces the uh, motion, that is, it produces the sound energy also. Electric bell is the best example. Your every period is marked by an electric bell in the school, and that indicate you the period is either over or begin. So that is electrical energy. Sound, electric guitar, electric piano. So that is all because of the electrical energy. Similarly, electrical energy can produce magnetic effect also. You just see, look at this crane. Here you see that with the help of this, you can raise heavy loads are left. More importantly, it produces motion also. And here you see the magnetic train. Look, this is all because of the electrical energy. So electrical energy makes our life more comfortable and easy and faster. There is light energy also. Light energy is a form of electromagnetic radiation. It is in the form of electromagnetic radiation. We can that is there are kind of lights which we can see, which we don't see. So it consists both in the visible and the invisible spectrum. So usually a light is the visible form of energy with the help of which we can see things around us. So it is all because of the light with the help of which we can see things around us. And this light travel in a form of waves and is the visible form of energy. As I told you, see here various kind of lights. Here you see there when that is the when look, there are various elements when they burn, so they produce different kind of light. For example, you just see, look at sodium. The sodium, when it burns, then it produces yellow light. So that is similarly here you see some glowing effect. You might have seen this in the market and in some concert shows, the lighting effect. It is all because of the light energy. So light is also very important in our life, and rather I would say that light brings color into our colorless life. So thanks to light. Let us move to the next slide. You see in the next slide, we have a very important form of energy, the heat or the thermal energy. And if you remember, when I was introducing to you to with the energy. That energy is the ability or the capacity of the body to do work. And then I told you that heat energy is, in fact, it used to cook food for us. So it is the energy which flows from hotter body towards a colder body due to a temperature difference. This is heat energy. The question is how heat energy is produced or created. So heat energy is created from the vibration of the atoms and molecules within a substance. So you know all substances consist of the molecules and atoms. So when they vibrate violently, then they have the ability to produce heat. This heat is accompanied by light also. So you see, look, you see the yellow flame also, and there will be a heating effect associated with it. So when you come near fire, then you feel the warmth of the fire, and you see some light also, the yellow light. So usually heat and light are accompanied together most often. Though we can remove these two from the source, also we can have even a cool light also, which contain do not which does not contain, sorry, it doesn't contain any heat. The faster these molecule move, the more energy they possess, and the harder the object will become. So that is all about heat or thermal energy. There is the nuclear energy also. I introduced to what the nuclear energy also. So you see the nuclear energy is stored in the nucleus of an atom. This energy is released when the nuclei are either combined in a nuclear fusion reaction to form a single nucleus, or when the nucleus splits apart in a nuclear fission reaction to produce some lighter nuclei. That is known as the fission reaction. And all these reaction happens according to the Einstein famous mass energy equation. E is equal to mc square. You might have heard about E is equal to mc square. In either if the reaction is fusion or if the reaction is fission, in both the cases, energy is liberated or energy is released. Now look, for example, here in this animation, you see, look, in this animation, you see visible. You see in this animation, look, here there is the look, the two nuclei combines together. You see these two nucleus, the pp, you see they combine, these are the two hydrogen nuclei. They combine and they form a single helium nucleus. So during this process, energy is released. And if you remember on my first lecture there, I told you that sun is in fact powered by nuclear fusion reaction. So there is this fusion reaction. And you just see in the second video here, you see that there is a one heavy nucleus, and a neutron that comes, a particle comes, it hits the nucleus and it splits into two pieces, and other particles are released. And this release of the particle is also accompanied by energy, usually mostly kinetic energy. So we use that nuclear energy to produce in the nuclear power plant to produce electrical energy. And that electrical energy we use for peaceful purposes. The nuclear energy can also be used for for war purposes also. So that is all about the nuclear energy. So in the nuclear energy, that is the nuclear power plants actually splits the nuclei of uranium atom to produce fission reaction, and from that fission reaction, energy is generated. There is chemical energy also. Now, what is chemical energy? This is the most important part of the energy. Chemical energy is, in fact, it is the type of potential energy. I would like to tell you elastic potential energy, and I'll be telling to you why. So chemical energy is stored in the bonds of atoms and molecules. You see, look, the atoms in the molecules, they are bound together with a kind of electrical forces or adhesive forces. Your chemistry teacher will tell you better even. So you see the atoms are bound, or the molecules are bound together. So this, they are bound together with a force, and actually that force is the causes of the chemical energy. So that it is the energy that holds these particles together. So when we liberate the particle, then we get that energy back, right? So the potential energy usually comes from there. This energy, the stored chemical energy is usually found in food, biomass, petroleum, and a natural gas, right? And this is what I would like to tell you, that much of 98 or 97% of our transportation is based on the consumption of the chemical energy. Why? Because they use petroleum or the natural gas or like that. Similarly, the chemical, that is the energy produced, the chemical energy can produce heat energy also, which you see, look at the microwave oven, we use that energy to produce, to warm our meal or food, like that. So that is all about the chemical energy. We have the sound energy. Just a second ago, you heard some sounds. That is the some, rather I would like to say music. So sound energy is produced when a force makes an object or substance to vibrate. For example, tapping on this table, it creates or produces sound. So sound is one of the most important form of energy, and I told you that it is this energy which help us communicate with each other. If there is no sound energy, you don't be able to hear each other. So thanks to sound energy, there is a sound which even we cannot hear, and still that is useful to us, and we call that sound ultrasound. We use ultrasound for medical purposes, for industrial purposes, in discovering the underground resources like oil. We use that high energy sound waves. You just see, look at the other video, you see the ship send sound waves, and the with the help of this, the device is called sonar. With the help of this, we can detect the features of the seabed and the undersea world we can explore by using what? By using the ultrasound. So ultrasound helps a lot in many ways to us. So it adds more to our life. So sound energy is produced when certain object is vibrating, and for example, the string of a sitar or a guitar or tapping on a table or any other thing that can cause sound energy. So sound energy is very important part of our life. There is the wind energy. It is the energy which is obtained from the moving air. And actually, this is most environmental friendly energy. I'm sorry, I did not tell you the nuclear energy. That is one of the most important energy, as I told you, but there was a radioactive waste reduced during the production of or the conversion of nuclear energy into electrical energy, and that is very, very dangerous for our life too if we do not take care of. But as far as the wind energy is concerned, this is environmental friendly. You see that in the area where more wind or air is blowing, then we can use that moving air to generate electricity. You see the wind fields, that is the they are what they all, there is at the base of the wind field there is a generator. They turn the generator and they convert this mechanical energy into electrical energy, and the electrical energy of all the windmills are added up together, and they together produce a very large quantity of energy. Sometimes the energy is much enough to run continuously the entire system of the airports. So wind energy is also very important in our life. Then there is the tidal energy, like the wind energy. Tidal energy is also obtained from the moving water. When the water moves, then they provide us with kinetic energy, and we use the kinetic energy of the water to produce electricity. This is environmental friendly, it is pollution free, and moreover, this is renewable also. It can be used again and again. Uh, that is, inshallah, when I'll explain you about the renewable and non-renewable sources of energy, then at that point I'll tell you this thing. Now you look at this video, you see the water is stored in a dam, and then the water has a potential energy. So now you see that look, there is, you see through these gates, the water is allowed to fall. The water falls through this, see this steep or spout or the slope. You see as the water arrives on the generator, that is we call turbine. So when the water uh, arrives on the turbine, it rotates the turbines. The turbine runs the generator, and the generator produces electricity, and that electricity is then supplied through the wires and cables to the towns and cities. And you see the discharge water, right? That is, we cannot say the wasted water, but the discharge water, even this is not wasted, even this is used for irrigation and many other purposes. So tidal energy is very important to our life also. So there are other sources of energy, other form of energy also, like magnetic and many more form of energy, but these were the only few which were the part of your syllabus. This is why I thought it to to explain it to you. So this is our today lecture. Hope you have learned a lot from our today lecture. Thank you very much for staying with us, and inshallah see you in the next lecture. The next lecture will be about the interconversion of energy. Please don't miss that, and that is the most important part of physics. So that is the inshallah I see you there in the next lecture. Thank you very much.